Hey everybody, how you doing? So today I am going to build an agent, an AI agent inside Zapier. I just watched a webinar from Zapier where they walk through how to build one, and I'm actually going to build the same one. So thank you, Zapier, for putting that video out, that webinar. It was fantastic. And now I'm just going to kind of reproduce that, but just the part of how to build the agent. The purpose of the video is really just to show you how to build an agent. But the specific agent that I'm going to build is the same one that they actually built in their webinar, which is a way to be able to send someone an email that has all my availability in it, right? So I do have a link, right? I have a scheduling link where people can click the scheduling link and choose a time that works for them. But there are certain times where I don't want to send something like that to someone. I just want to be able to send them a quick email that says, oh yeah, sure, here are the days and times I'm available on these specific days. Let me know what works for you. And I send it in their time zone, and they could just say, oh yeah, let's meet at that time. So that way, it doesn't require them to do any work. I'm not putting any extra work on them. They're just reading the email and saying, yeah, that one, right? So there are specific occasions where I would prefer that. So that's what I'm going to build. All right, so once you're logged into Zapier, you'll just come down here and click Agents. Okay, this is my first time in here, so it's going to make me take a tour, apparently. Okay, continue. And we will be using the Chrome extension for this one, so that's good. Okay, and so here, this is like the Copilot step, I think, where like you tell it what you want and it uses AI to try to like build the app for you or build the agent for you. But I think I'm going to skip this step and go straight to where we start from scratch. Yeah, okay, yeah. This is the page I was looking for here. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is add a trigger. So just like a regular Zap, you can see that there are lots of triggers based on the things that you're using in Zapier. So for this one, I'm going to say on demand, right? So I only want it to work when I tell it to work. So there you go. So it's on demand, and like I said, we're going to use the Chrome extension later on to make this thing go. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do, again, instead of putting this part in here, right, instructions to follow, I'm going to go down here to the tool part and tell it what tool I want to add. And in this case, it's going to be my Google Calendar. Now, this is something that I learned from the webinar. Typically, I would probably come in here and look for free time on the calendar, like available space. But they don't actually have like an available space tool in here. So what you're going to do is actually look for busy periods on the calendar. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. Okay, so I was expecting it to ask me to like get access to the calendar or something like that, but it didn't do that, and it says missing authentication here. So let's fix the setup error. Okay, so let's go ahead and reconnect the account. Bring that in there. Okay, so in the example that they used, they had it look at several calendars, but I only needed to look at one. So let's go ahead and try this. So we're going to look at a specific value in this field. All right. Yep. That's the calendar I want. So now I can just go ahead and click Save. Okay, so from here, I've got my tools, I've got my trigger, I've got the tools set up, and so now is where I'm going to go ahead and use the Copilot, which, oops, yeah, that was already set up over here. So now is where I'm going to use the Copilot to help me kind of set up the rest of this app, right? So I'll go ahead and put the prompt in here, and then I'll pause it while I'm writing the prompt, and then I'll come back just so you can read it. Okay, so one thing to remember is that I started writing out the prompt here, but then I hit return as opposed to shift return so that I can go to like the next line, and so it started giving me the answer to how to do this, and I stopped it. So that way I could finish writing out the rest of what it says. So this first part is, I actually took it straight from the webinar that I watched from Zapier. It says, I want you to find the busy events in my Google Calendar to see the time slots that I am free. Then this part I kind of paraphrased from what they said, and then this last part is, the specifics. So I want you to give me a nice clean list of available times that I can copy and paste into an email to help the recipient schedule a time with me. I will specify the recipient's time zone, the length of time needed, and the length of time needed for the appointment, and the time frame which you should search for those available times. Right. So I think that's probably enough information. Maybe I'll specify that I want the list to come back in the recipient's time frame, or in their time zone. Okay, so I just added that. Please make sure that the list is in the recipient's time zone. Okay, so let's go ahead and start, and I'll let you know what it comes up with. Okay, so it's done thinking, and it asked me a couple more questions. So it said, you're going to input all these details. Do you want to do that every time, or do you want a default set of values that you can just override when you need? So because my customers are all over the place, I'm going to say, yes, I want to do this every time. Then the second question it asked was about formatting. It said, does this format work, or would you prefer a different format? So this format works fine for me. So I'll just tell it that I want to do it every time, and that this format works. Okay, so I said, yes, I want to input that every time, and yes, the formatting looks good, except for the way you format the time zone. Instead of saying EST, I'd rather say it ET, just because after living in Arizona, where here I said if they live in Arizona, put Arizona time, there's a big difference between MST and MDT. So anyways, let's go ahead and move forward here. Okay, so let's go back through here. So these are all the things that it said, right? And I'll just kind of scroll slowly so that if you want to pause, you can go ahead and just read it. And here's where it's really kind of telling you what it's going to do. Okay, and then it asks over here, it's actually putting in all the instructions, right? Telling it like what to do, where to do, all that kind of good stuff. So now that I'm looking at it, there was one more thing that I was thinking about, so I'm going to add a little more instruction, and then we're going to go from there. Okay, so the two other things that I thought of were that I don't want it to show any availability on weekends. And number two is that if I only need like a 30-minute meeting, but I have 2 hours consecutive, like I don't want it to show 4 different time slots in those 2 hours. I want it to say, anytime between 1 and 3 on this day, right? So that is what I was telling it there. Okay, so now it just did some more thinking, and it gave me some more information on what it's doing. Right, and it looks like it's done a pretty good job of understanding what it is that I'm trying to accomplish here. So, so now I can close autopilot, and I can come in here and just read through, all the instructions that it is giving to the agent. Okay, yeah. So all this looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and do the agent preview, and we are going to test the agent. Okay, so it asked when it wanted me, so it asked for the 3 pieces of information I said I was going to input every time. And so I said time zone is Pacific time. We're going to use a 30-minute meeting, and we're going to look at the rest of this week starting from tomorrow. Okay, so let's go ahead and click that. And there should be, with the calendar I gave it, there should be lots of free time. Okay, so at first glance, it looked pretty good, right? And it gives me all these dates and times that are available, which is great. Looks super easy to cut and paste. However, Tuesday is actually January 20th, not January 21st. And so, yeah, it got the dates wrong, which obviously in what we're doing, that's fairly important. So now I've got to figure out how to go back to Copilot. So I'll go back to Copilot and tell it what happened, and then see what it can do. Improve with Copilot. Yeah, so I will click that. Okay, so I went back and forth with Copilot a bunch of times, and then I decided, hey, you know what, like, let's skip the Copilot piece, and let me just put the feedback right here, because, ultimately all we're doing is talking to an AI. So when you go to Copilot, it's like you're talking to an AI to change the parameters that are set up in another AI, right? And so I just said, let me just talk to the AI directly here. And so I said, hey, thanks. However, June 20th is Tuesday. January 20th is a Tuesday, not a Monday. Can you adjust that? And it said, yeah, sure, no problem. And then it adjusted it, right? So it said, oh, okay, yeah, Tuesday, January 20th, right? And it goes through. And so then I gave it a slightly more complex one, where I said, okay, I want you to do it in Eastern time. And I want it to be 30-minute intervals, and I'm only going to be available next week, Monday through Wednesday. And so then it was able to handle that with no problem. It had the dates correct in here. These times are also accurate, so I was like, fantastic. So at that point, I was satisfied. I felt like it worked, and so I went up and hit publish, and I published it. So now, once you publish it, right, you can log into Zapier, go to Agents, and go to Activity, like open up this thing, go to Activity, and just run it from here like I did. Or you can go to your Chrome extensions and get the Zapier Agents extension. So that way you can run it out of Chrome. And I want to see how that works, so I'm going to go ahead and go through that with you. So here I just went to a new tab. This is the Chrome extension store, I think is what it's called. So I'll say Zapier Agents. There it is. That's the one that we want. Add to Chrome, add extension. Okay, boom, there it is. Great. Manage your extensions and click extensions in the window. Okay, so let's go ahead and click it and see how this works. Okay, yep, so there it is. Fantastic. I'm guessing I click on okay, none of those look right. Let me just click on right here. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, sweet. All right, nothing to chat, so I think I need to hit new chat maybe. Yeah, great. Okay, and so here we go. So I'm going to say time zone. We'll say Central Time. 30 minutes meetings. And next week, Wednesday through Friday. All right, let's see how that works. All right, boom. Yeah, that looks pretty good so far. Looks like something I can copy and paste pretty easy. Let me go ahead and double check the dates. Yeah, no, definitely did not get that one right. So again, I said next week and Wednesday through Friday, and it said, basically gave me this week. But again, Wednesday is actually the 21st. Thursday is the 22nd this week. So let me see if I can do it again. Like, okay, that was good, except you gave me dates and times for this week, not next week. Let's start on Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. Okay, so again, so I messed it up again. So it said Wednesday, January 29th, or January 28th is Wednesday. All right, and I'll say okay. Okay. But you messed up the days of the week. The Jan 29 is a Thursday, not Wednesday. Okay. All right, there we go. So now, no busy period found. Okay. All right, so now that is, the dates are looking better. Let's look at the time. Okay, so yeah, this time, so it's got the days of the week right, but the times that I'm available, it's actually showing like the time that I'm busy on that day. And this day it's not showing anything, even though there are some busy times. Okay, so well, let's see what else I can do here. Delete chat. Delete chat. All right, and I'll start a new chat, and I'll be a little more specific. Okay, so I got a little more specific here, and I said, it's going to be Pacific time, 1 hour meeting, and it's going to be on, or the 22nd of January is a Thursday. Please check free times on Thursday and Friday. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. All right, looks like it's got the days of the week right. Okay, so Thursday, January 22nd. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. Okay, so this time it gave me the right day of it gave me the right day, gave me the right month. All right, so all that looks pretty good. But then it gave me busy periods and available periods. And it did the same thing for Friday, which, I can handle that, right? Like copy and paste, I can just cut that busy part out and everything will be fine. So, all right, so that's good. So now let's see what happens if I close that. Right, so because that worked, I want to see if it's going to work again. All right, so I'm going to go to a new tab. And so we'll just pretend like this is my email, and I'm going to go and I'm going to click on that. I'll open it back up and see what happens. Okay, so I click on there. All right. And so it has something that's complete. It has something that's complete. And so let's go ahead and just open that up. All right, so I just go to the same one that I was on before. Okay. All right. And I'm going to say, okay, so I've got another meeting that I want to do. We're going to do time zone PT, 30-minute meetings, which I'm guessing at this point really doesn't matter too much. And we're going to say next Wednesday through Friday. All right, here's the true test. If this works, I'm going to be happy. I'll actually use it again. If this doesn't work, well, then I think we're going to be done for today. All right, that's looking promising. It's got the right dates here. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's everything. So it's going from Wednesday the 28th, and Wednesday is the 28th, from 8 to 6, right? Those are my busy things. These are my free spots. Awesome. Yep. All right. So I am satisfied now. I feel like this is working good enough that, if I had a meeting coming up that I wanted to use this for, that I could whip this out and actually use it and feel confident that it's going to give me the right answer, right? And, just because, I'll go ahead and make another prompt and say, this is great. Please remove the busy periods from the response. Okay, and let's see if that worked. Oh yeah, beautiful. Oh, and it gives me even this little thing down here at the bottom if I want to add that in there. Yep, there we go. So I could just copy and paste that, put it into an email, and off we go. All right, I'm feeling much better about this. So now you know how to put together an agent, and let me go back to the agent. And so really, what I'm seeing here, I can go ahead and close that. I can close that. So what I'm really seeing here is that, I say that I want to do it on demand, right? And from doing it on demand, I can trigger it from here, right? But you can use automated triggers as well. And then as I scroll down, I could see that, I'm also adding my, the tools that I need to use. But outside of that, everything else is just like one really big prompt. And, you can use, Copilot to help you create that prompt. Or you can, from what I'm understanding now, is that I could just go in here and create this prompt myself, and then edit it and do the things that I want. But yeah, that's it. So there you have it. Now you know how to create at least this kind of agent inside of Zapier.